Beloved chosen one, listen carefully. This is about you. You have walked among the crowd, but you were never one of them. There's a whisper in the spirit that calls your name when no one else hears it. You felt the weight of invisible warfare pressing against your soul since birth. They tried to program you, shape you, and silence the fire that God Himself lit inside you. But you were not made for conformity. You were made for dominion. Even before you entered this world, heaven had declared your authority. This message has traveled through realms, bypassed the noise, and landed here for your spirit to awaken. You're not just different. You are divine in disguise. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will remind you of the bloodline you carry. Chosen one, you've been walking in places too small for your spirit. You've bowed out of rooms you were meant to lead, not because you lacked power, but because you carried peace. You never fit their labels because your soul was never for sale. You were mocked for your stillness, but stillness is the language of kings. Inside you is the sound of ancient drums, the roar of prophets, the whisper of God. The world saw your quiet as weakness, but it was wisdom waiting for the right moment. You have royal DNA. Heaven's fingerprint rests on your every step. You weren't born to chase trends. You were born to set divine timelines. This is your awakening. This is your permission to stand in your spiritual royalty and never shrink. Again, the time of hiding is over. You were never meant to be hidden, only preserved. Why do you think they fought you so early? Because the enemy always knew. Before you spoke your first word, hell had already marked you as a threat. The attacks weren't random. They were targeted strikes against your destiny. But what hell didn't understand is, pressure only reveals the diamond. Every rejection made you stronger. Every delay trained your patience. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment. You became dangerous by surviving what was meant to destroy you. And now, your very breath is a warning to darkness. The chosen one lives. You didn't lose your fire. You learned to control it. And now, that same flame will guide others out of their own chains. Let it be known in the spirit realm, a leader has awakened. You won't walk like the world. You walk like eternity itself touched the earth. You won't be manipulated, guilted, or gaslit. You've outgrown every chain. The same people who doubted, you will watch God prepare a table in plain sight. You were hidden for a reason, but now you are revealed for a season. Hell has scrambled its forces, but it's too late. Your name is etched in destiny. When you speak, angels move. When you pray, dimensions shift. And when you rise, others will follow, because you're not rising alone. You carry generations in your voice, healing in your hands, and fire in your eyes. The light is in you, and the darkness knows it cannot put you out. You were born into a war that predates time, a battle between light and shadow. The enemy has always known who you are. Even before you knew yourself, he sent confusion, betrayal, loss, and isolation to break you, but you survived. The world tried to convince you to stay in line, to shrink, to obey systems built to suppress truth. But when God formed you, He breathed rebellion against darkness into your lungs. You carry the torch of the prophets, the sword of the Spirit, and the mantle of leadership. The devil trembles, not because you shout, but because your silence holds power. You don't move with the crowd. You move with divine timing. Your presence interrupts demonic patterns. You are not just in the fight, you are the tipping point. You didn't just inherit physical DNA, you inherited spiritual resistance. Your ancestors fought silent wars that you now finish with fire in your bones. What broke them cannot break you, because you carry not just healing, but holy vengeance. You were born into a bloodline the enemy hoped would stay cursed. But grace interrupted the pattern. There's a reason you never fit the mold. You weren't made from clay, you were forged in divine fire. And though the battle raged within your lineage, God raised you up as the breaker of cycles. Like Gideon, you were hiding in fear, but heaven called you mighty warrior before you believed it. Judges 6:12. What runs in your blood is not weakness. It's warfare turned into worship. You are not only the one chosen to fight, you're the one chosen to win. The curse ends with you, and the blessing begins with your obedience. Chosen one. You've never walked alone. Though it felt like solitude, it was strategy. Heaven has assigned angels to your movements, and hell has assigned watchers to stop you. But nothing formed against you shall prosper, not even the inner doubt you wrestle with. Isaiah 54:17. You walk with the invisible, and that makes you unpredictable to the visible. You may feel behind, but God is accelerating you in the Spirit. Your path looks different because your purpose is different. You're not late, you're in sync with eternity. When others rushed ahead, you were still because stillness is how commanders receive their orders. There's a code to your steps, divinely encrypted, hidden from the enemy. You walk with a frequency that confuses hell and aligns heaven. There's power in your name because God spoke it, not man. When heaven said, "Let there be light," your future was already contained within that word. Genesis 1:3. Your identity is not tied to your past, your pain, or your performance. It is tied to purpose. That's why you've been fought so violently. Your name rings like thunder in the unseen realm. There are doors opening for you, not because of who you know, but because of who you are. Even your sighs have been recorded in God's book, Psalm 56:8. Your name has been cleared in heaven, even if they try to stain it on earth. Speak your name with boldness, chosen one. It is a key, not just a title. Demons recognize it, angels honor it, and heaven defends it. Because when God gave you that name, he whispered, "Lead, my child." This is your moment to rise, not just emotionally, but spiritually and prophetically. You've been quiet long enough. Now even the stones are crying out in agreement with your assignment. Luke 19:40. The time for silence has passed. This is the season of sound. Your sound. Open your mouth and mountains will move. Lift your voice and dry bones will rise again. Ezekiel 37:4. You're not waiting on the right moment. The moment has been waiting on you. Rise, chosen one, not because it's easy, but because it is written. And when you rise, others will know it was never about titles. It was always about truth. Stand tall in your divine defiance. You weren't born to bow to darkness. You were born to break it. God's chosen once, for there are systems designed to enslave minds, cultures woven with deception, and idols dressed as truth. But you, chosen one, were given eyes that see beyond the veil. You see lies where others see entertainment. You feel oppression where others feel normalcy. Because you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to disrupt. The devil has mastered the art of distraction, but you remain focused. They labeled you rebellious, stubborn, antisocial, but you were only resisting control. The darkness knows. It cannot touch your spirit, so it tried to attack your mind. But even your breakdowns became breakthroughs. Now you stand with the scars of survival and the strength of a general in God's army. You were not sent here to blend in. You were born to expose what hides in plain sight. Your very existence convicts what is counterfeit. When you walk into a room, spirits shift because truth cannot remain silent around you. This is why you've felt resistance from places you've never harmed, because your presence reveals hidden agendas. You were anointed with a sharp eye and a sharper spirit. Watchdog for the kingdom, disruptor of darkness. Like Elijah before the prophets of Baal, you don't flinch in the face of false gods. 1 Kings 18:21. You ask questions others fear. You challenge norms others worship. You are not divisive, you are divinely confrontational. God didn't call you to entertain demons, He called you to evict them. That's why your words burn and your silence wounds, because heaven gave you eyes to see and say. Discernment is a gift, but it comes with a price. To see clearly is to suffer privately. You've cried over things others laughed at. You've carried burdens no one else could feel, because what breaks God's heart now breaks yours too. You've learned to smile while bleeding, to lead while limping, and to speak truth while being misunderstood. But blessed are you when they revile you and say all manner of evil against you falsely, for great is your reward in heaven. Matthew 5:11-12. Your pain is prophetic. It announces that your spirit is aligned with the spirit of truth. Even in your isolation, you were being trained, not punished but purified. The wilderness wasn't to starve you, it was to separate you for greater. Now you wear the oil of discernment like armor, and the enemy can't unsee your light. You've been walking among the programmed, but your mind has always been free. While others chant slogans, you hear the silence between the words. While they follow algorithms, you follow the voice of the shepherd, John 10:27. You were never wired for slavery, not of the flesh, not of the mind, not of the spirit. That's why you can't stomach lies anymore. Your soul rejects what the world celebrates. You are what the enemy feared, a liberated soul in a captured world. Your freedom isn't just for you. It's generational, dimensional, and dangerous to darkness. Where others are hypnotized, you are awakened. You don't just think outside the box, you dismantle the box entirely. Because your spirit remembers. A kingdom where truth reigns and lies hold no throne. Chosen one, this is your call to stand unashamed. Unashamed of your discernment. Unashamed of your standard. Unashamed of your separation. You weren't called to blend with Babylon. You were sent to confront it. Come out from among them and be ye separate, saith the Lord. 2 Corinthians 6:17. This isn't about pride, it's about positioning. You don't speak to be liked, you speak because truth must live somewhere. You don't move with fear, you move with fire. You're not for everyone, and that's your power. You are not rejected, you are reserved. And what's coming for you isn't validation, it's vindication. Think of Jesus, betrayed and bruised, yet he never wavered in his mission. Think of Moses, a stutterer turned deliverer, chosen to part seas and defy Pharaoh. Consider Mandela, imprisoned but never broken. His light broke bars before he did. You are cut from the same divine cloth. Like the prophets of old, you walk with burdens others cannot understand. You cry in private because your calling is public. You carry a vision that frightens the unprepared. But remember, so did Jeremiah, so did Esther, so did David. God uses the unlikely to do the undeniable. And you, yes you, are among the ones heaven has appointed. Chosen one, greatness does not feel like greatness when you're carrying it. It feels like weight, like pressure, like isolation. But what you call heaviness, God calls his hand upon you. Just as Joseph was sold before he was crowned, your trials are the soil of your throne. You've been misunderstood because your vision outruns the vocabulary of your surroundings. You've dreamed things too big for small minds to comprehend. You've felt the ache of being early to a season not yet visible to others. But delay is not denial, it's divine design. For our light affliction is working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. 2 Corinthians 4:17. Don't curse the burden, beloved. It's proof of your destiny pressing through. You are not just a vessel. You are the evidence that God still chooses. You are proof that heaven does not consult man before calling a soul. You were not born for acceptance. You were born as a sign. A walking prophecy, a living altar, a rebuke to systems and a comfort to seekers. When you show up, things realign, not because of you, but because of who sent you. Like David walking into a battlefield with only a sling, you were never supposed to look ready. The Goliaths in your life are not too big. They're perfectly sized for the anointing within you. You are the answer to a cry someone else prayed. You are the interruption to cycles that ran through generations. Heaven didn't just appoint you, it released you as a spiritual strategy. Those who are truly called speak a different language. It's not just in what you say, it's in what you know without hearing. You sense shifts in the spirit before the earth catches up. You recognize divine timing not by clocks, but by confirmations in your spirit. This is why shallow conversations tire you. Your soul was trained in the deep. You feel truth before it's said. You discern danger before it manifests. You don't just read the word, you echo it. And it shall be in the last days, says God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. You are walking in that outpouring now, Acts 2:17. Others debate doctrine. You carry the word made flesh in your obedience. You speak the tongue of the anointed, silence when necessary, fire when required. This is not the age of the crowd, it's the rise of the remnant. Those who have been tried by fire, kept by grace, and sent by power. You don't represent a religion. You carry a revolution of righteousness. Like Esther, you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. You are not the echo of this world. You are the sound of heaven's movement. You've been hidden, broken, healed and humbled, and now you are ready. Ready to shake atmospheres, ready to carry glory, ready to walk where others compromise. You are not looking for permission. You were born with divine clearance. This generation doesn't need another influencer. It needs an intercessor who glows with God. And that chosen one is exactly what you are becoming. If this message speaks to your soul, declare it boldly in the comments. Type 11 or 7 below. 11 represents divine alignment, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit moving in sync through your life. 77 is the number of spiritual completion and divine protection. By typing these numbers, you are not just engaging, you are prophesying. You are declaring that you agree with heaven's plan for your life. You are breaking silence with purpose, turning keystrokes into declarations. Your fingers are weapons when they write truth. Let the numbers you type echo through spiritual dimensions. Let them remind darkness that you are awake now. This is more than a comment. It's a confirmation. Let me tell you something terrifying to darkness. You now know who you are. And when a chosen one becomes aware, hell loses leverage. They can't bind what God has already loosed. Your presence shakes rooms because your spirit speaks before your mouth does. Demons flee, not just at your prayers, but at your awakening. Chains that held generations are breaking because you said yes to your calling. Your eyes now blaze with holy fire. Your voice drips with sacred authority. The accuser has been silenced. Your name is known in heaven and feared in hell. You walk like a lion because you were born from the tribe of Judah. The darkness can only watch now because your light cannot be dimmed. You've stepped into authority that doesn't come from titles or platforms, it comes from heavens. Decree. When you walk, creation listens. When you speak, realms respond. The authority on your life is not borrowed, it's breathed by God Himself. Like Peter's shadow healing the sick, your mere existence carries consequence in the unseen. Acts 5:15. You've cried in silence, but now your spirit roars in tongues of fire. The enemy once mocked your prayers, now he fears your silence. You don't need an army behind you, you walk with the commander of hosts, for he gives his angels charge over you. And they march when you move. Psalm 91:11. What once made you feel small now reveals how massive your mantle truly is. You are not just walking in purpose, you are dripping in power. There has been a shift, and the earth can feel it. You're no longer surviving, you're commanding the terrain. The old version of you broke open to reveal a vessel glory could trust. The wilderness didn't destroy you, it anointed you. In secret, what they buried was a seed, and now the harvest is undeniable. You are walking evidence that God vindicates those He chooses. The seasons that silenced you are now prophesying your return. Your life is no longer a question mark. It is a divine exclamation. Even heaven is announcing your arrival. Lift up your heads, that the King of glory may come in. Psalm 24:7. And He's coming through you. Chosen one, you don't just carry an anointing, you carry glory. The kind that can't be counterfeited, copied, or confined. Glory that smells like oil and sounds like thunder. The kind that burns demons out of hiding and awakens sleepers with a whisper. You've been branded by heaven, set apart before time began. You wear holiness like armor and purity like a crown. What intimidated you before now bows before you. You're not just operating in gifts, you're operating in God's very essence. And no demon in hell can replicate or revoke what's been sealed upon your spirit. You shine not to be seen, but to make darkness irrelevant. This calling on your life, it's relentless. Even when you tried to run, it pursued you with fire. Even when you sat in silence, it thundered within you, because you were not just chosen, you were claimed, marked by the one who speaks worlds into being and calls you his own. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. You are not here by accident, not awakened by coincidence. You were pulled from the shadows, refined by the flames, and released as a living word. Your very existence rebukes the darkness that tried to erase you. And this call, it won't let go because it is you. You were never meant to follow. You were anointed to lead. Your story was written in fire, sealed by the Spirit and marked by favor. You are a blueprint for breakthrough, a vessel of victory, a warrior clothed in humility. Do not shrink back. When they misunderstand your silence, kings don't explain to slaves. Do not second-guess the burden you carry. God does not entrust warriors with empty hands. You are the answer to a generational prayer. You are the fulfillment of prophecy. Walking in real time, you are chosen not by popularity, but by providence. And though the world told you to stay in line, heaven crowned you to lead. Now rise, because your time is not coming. It is here. Chosen one, you were born with a throne in your spirit and warfare in your blood. The delay was never denial. It was preparation for the crown custom carved for your calling. You were trained in silence, sculpted in fire, and refined in rejection. Every no you received was God whispering, "That's not your seat. I'm reserving something greater." You will sit in rooms your enemies prayed you'd never enter. You will speak in places where your name was once erased. The tables they barred you from? God is preparing one in the presence of your enemies. Psalm 23:5. Do not fear the throne. You were made to govern with grace. Every scar is now a signature of your authority. Take your seat, for you are not just rising. You were always meant to reign, and now walk forward, not as who you were, but as who heaven always knew you were. Leave behind the opinions, the shame, the fear. They were never part of your divine DNA. You are more than a survivor. You are a system breaker, a curse destroyer, a kingdom builder. You are the echo of ancient prayers and the voice of coming revival. What you carry will bless nations, disrupt strongholds, and resurrect the weary. God trusted you with this fire because you wouldn't bury it. You'd blaze the trail. So walk tall, speak boldly, love fiercely, because you are not just chosen, you are confirmed, sealed by the Spirit, sent by the King. And as heaven watches, earth will now witness what happens when a chosen one awakens.